Hmm. Uh, you remember I told you that I was invited to a news channel to come on a live interview, and I refused. Okay, and after I had mentioned that video that I got a live interview with a leading news outlet and I refused, my critics and haters were like, hey, yeah, you're a fucking loser. Yeah, you're afraid you'll be exposed. You don't have the guts. If you have the courage, come on, challenge you, go there. Yeah, so many people kept, and some people kept making fun. Well, I didn't answer that. And yesterday I happened to get another invite to do online debate, live debate. And this person has a massive, huge following online, huge. I mean, in millions. And the person said, I would like you to debate. It would be various topics from religion to God to, politics. And so they would give you the rules and the stance and how many minutes and the format and all that. They asked me, am I interested? Now, on the good side, the plus side, is given the number of followers this guy has, it would, come down to millions. At least, say, 500,000 people watching. And this would greatly boost my channel and online presence. And plus, the other person also pretty well known. So why did I say no? Well, I guess before answering why did I say no, I guess the the reason why they wanted to ask me is maybe because I'm growing in popularity, or they find it, I look different and my personality is different, or maybe many people ask them, because I've been asked by many news channels. Sometimes people send a message, could you interview this guy? And then they check my profile and they're like, we would like to interview you, but I've said no. So now the question is, why have I said no? There's a novelty that I look different, I am different. So they want to do it, have this kind of exclusive thing. So why did I say no? The reason I said no is not because I lack the courage. Oh, you don't have guts. You'll be afraid to be exposed. What is there to expose? I've told you literally everything about my life. All the girls I've slept with, all the shit that I've done. Who has exposed it? I have told you. I have told you the girls I slept with, the prostitutes I went to, the fraud company I was working with, the false deportation and then me coming back. All this I told you, right? How would you know otherwise? So it's nobody else has exposed me. I have exposed myself. So then why did I refuse? Am I scared? I'm fucking scared. What is there to be scared? You're having a conversation. But then why did I say no is the question. And here is the answer. And this is, you can listen to the points and you can tell me if what I'm saying is right or wrong. Okay. Now, first things first. For those of you who say that I lack the courage, I don't have guts, let me give you a small little reminder, small little fact which you're not aware of. I've been into public speaking from the age of 16. From the age of 16, into public speaking, competitively. I've won literally more than 800 awards, 800 trophies, certificates, prizes, medals, to the extent whereby I have thrown away certificates. There were so many. And I did this competitively and very actively until the age of, I think, 33 or something, okay? I've always done it like crazy. Now, and I've also competed at, local level, area level, regional level, and national level. I've not done international, I'll be honest with you. I've done up to nationals. Like in the whole of India, all the top debaters and all that come. and I've had a placing there. Okay. Now, after my college life, I did take part actively in debates and public speaking sessions. But now the question is, even after winning all these awards, why am I saying no? Is it because I'm rusted? No, it's not I'm rusted. Every day I'm talking to you, right? Okay. But here's what you don't consider: the experience. Now let's say, for example, I were to ask you, okay, I want you to make a YouTube video, make a video and upload it on YouTube. I can assure you, you'll go through plenty of challenges and difficulties. In fact, have you noticed that I speak for non-stop for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, sometimes even 1 hour, non-stop I talk. The highest I've spoken for non-stop is 11 hours. Okay, just let that sink in, 11 hours. Okay, I'd uploaded that 11-hour video and edited it down to 6 hours. Now, there's a certain level of experience that you need in order to do things effortlessly and to do it well. That's one. The second thing is the amount of practice, the amount of research, the amount of mastery that you need is something that most of you don't even consider. You're a spectator. I'm an actual performer. When asked to take part in these debates, here are a couple of things which you don't know. Most of the debates I would win hands down. And I would win them because I was the best. But the reason I was the best is because I would spend hours and hours honing my skill. Now the question is, how many hours? Okay? Just imagine there is a 15-minute debate. 5 minutes into 3. 15 minutes. First is placing an argument. Next one is a rebuttal. Third one is a conclusion. 15 minutes. Are you aware of how many days it would take me to prepare for something like this? Now, if you do not have any experience or you're an amateur, you would say, think. First, before I tell you the answer, think. I'll give you a few seconds, think about it, and tell me how many hours would you need, or days you would need to prepare for a 15-minute, for me at least, 15-minute debate. Okay, I'll count till 5. Put down your comments down below. How many hours per date? See, there's no right or wrong. Obviously, you will say it wrong because you do not know. So put your answer down below. I'll count till 5. Okay, so you got answer. The reason I'm asking you to put is because it'll give you a perspective by how far your answer and my answer is different. Whenever I ask this question to people, how many hours or how many days, people would say 4-5 hours. Some people would say 2-3 days. Okay, here's the answer. I would take around, at least minimum, 3 months. 3 months of preparation, and the number of hours would be at least minimum 8 to 10 hours a day. And that is 8 to 10 hours of research, 8 to 10 hours of editing, crafting the speech, memorization, researching what my opponent would say and do, practicing the skill, honing those, the manner in which I would deliver, planning out the strategy, going to other people's houses to practicing in front of my mentors. So there would be a lot of tremendous amount of practice. Everything from the suit I would wear, the shoes, even the undergarment, everything would be planned out. The movements, everything would be studied on. Everything. And that is the only reason why I would win. And if I had less time, say 2 weeks, then I would not go to work for two whole weeks. I would take an off from work and practice nothing but that particular topic. That's the amount of practice, obsession, madness that I would put into the craft of speaking. In fact, I want you to check people like Ben Shapiro, BenShapiro. check this guy out. Just see how fast he talks. Candice Owens, I think her name is Candice Owens, Owens, Candice Owens. These are political commentators. I don't agree with all their views, but I absolutely admire them. And the people who are like atheists, like one is the late Christopher Hitchens, who's no longer alive. Check Christopher Hitchens. Check Sam Harris, Samharris, or Christopher, Christopher, Christopher Hitchens, Hitchens. Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris, then Majid Nawaz, he's a Muslim debater, or Mehdi Hassan, again Muslim debater. Check these guys out. Even Shashi Tharoor, okay? Now, Richard Dawkins. These are some debaters who I listen to, speakers, public figures. Now, even Dr. Zakir Naik, okay? This guy is a total fucking idiot. Talks all shit. But if you see the way he talks, the delivery, it's very impressive. The reason being is, these people sharpen their skill. They memorize facts. They memorize figures. They memorize... it's like chess. You know what your opponent is going to say, and you already have planned out the answer to that, that objection or that statement or that point. And through repeated practice, the minute a person is going to say something, you already have the answer. And not only the answer, you give them a hook or a tag question to trap them. Like chess, how you trap people. So there's a certain skill, there is a certain strategy that comes with debating. It's not that easy. And it's a skill that I have mastered, but over the years I stopped doing it. And the reason I stopped doing it, the main reason is the ROI, return on investment, for the time, effort and money that I put. Even money is involved. You have to spend a lot of money for getting your mentors, buying the material, research. It's not worth it. Today, if I spend 3 months on creating YouTube videos or marketing my clients, being with my clients, I can make up to $100,000. 100,000 if I am totally obsessed, do nothing but just focus on making money. Just focus on 24/7. Eat, sleep, breathe, only money. I've done it before. Now, would it be exactly 3 months? No, it'll go 3-4 months here and there. But I've done it. But the thing is, it is so obsessive, it is so crazy. At least me, I'll be completely burnt out. Burnt out to the point I'll be sick. So any skill, you can do it, but there should be an ROI. Why do you think I have refused to go to colleges to debate? Or not debate, even go and give a presentation. I've been invited to India to go to colleges, to go to companies, to conduct seminars. I've been offered, they'll pay my ticket, they'll pay my stay. In some cases, they say they'll even pay me a sum of money, but it's not too much. Why I've refused? Because the time it takes to prepare myself, to go all the way there, to be there, then to come back, and then to reset and complete the pending work and then start my normal schedule, I will easily lose out 1 month. Just for a few days, I will lose out on a month's earnings. There are some people who keep traveling and keep doing because their business model is different. Their lifestyle is different. I'm pretty sure 99% of people, if you ask them, not 99, I would say 80%. 80% of people are there who would love to take these interviews, love to take these public appearances, seminars, coaching sessions, talking in front of colleges, especially coming in front of the media, news and channels. I only have appeared on CoffeeZilla because I know what he does and because I know that what he would ask me, the topic. Otherwise, there are so many others I've refused. Only because the time, the effort, the money, and yes, the return on investment is not worth it. And most importantly, It's because debating is a skill. It's a skill that has to be sharpened. I have developed this skill over the years, but because maybe 10 years I never did it, I know that I'll have to brush up my skills for the 10 years that I lost. And if I were to do it every single day, fine. It's a breeze, you know. But remember, the biggest danger of them all is when you go online and when you say something, and if you make a mistake, people remember only that mistake. They don't remember anything good that you did. And that's a risk, major risk, that anyone should be afraid of. For me, all it'll take is one mistake, just one. And people will highlight that and rub it in my face for the rest of my life, even if, no matter how small it is. Because people only want to remember the bad. It's like, you know, the analogy, white sheet. There's a white sheet, massive big white sheet, but there's a dot, a red dot in the center. Guess where people's attention would go? The red dot. So that's the reason why I refused to do this, live debate on this really immensely powerful channel. And do I have any regrets? No, I don't have. The reason being is it's not something that I would do 24/7. If debating was the way my brand was, like Ben Shapiro, this guy, his whole channel, his whole shtick is going and debating people left, right, and center. Their only job is that. Fine. Then I would memorize facts. I would memorize figures. I would sharpen my skills. I would get a mentor. I would practice sessions and specialize in that topic. But if I cannot memorize the dates, I cannot memorize facts, I cannot memorize strategies, I can't memorize my own script, what's the point? That's why Zakir Naik, wherever he goes, he'll repeat like a parrot. He knows the whole Quran with the words. Okay, that verse 14, chapter 16, sentence number 4 says in the surah, Shia, blah, 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 he goes on. So fucking irritating. But nothing but respect to the guy for spending 10 years, 20 years memorizing that. That's why he's considered an authority. But he gets exposed because when you take it slowly, verse by verse, sentence by sentence, and you study it, you realize the guy's talking fucking shit. He's manipulating facts and words and, he's just playing around. It's a word play. So that's another thing, you need to be very careful. When you're going live, you can't talk from your ass. That is why for me, when I have these sessions, before I have these sessions, I do research. People don't think that there's research involved. Every video before I speak, it takes at least 8 hours of research, man. 8 hours of research for the topic, the content. And even bigger thing, what people don't realize is after the video is made, there are so many videos sometimes I cannot upload because I'm like, shit, this is not appropriate. Okay, I made a factual error here. So, in fact, if you check my previous video, I've removed so many of them. So, anyway, this is what I wanted to share with you. Like I said, it's very easy to talk about other people. Very easy to be a spectator and comment, oh, you don't have guts, you don't have courage. Do it by yourself. Practice the art by yourself. Whether it's you're talking of people who are practicing a sport like cricket or football or whatever, what the fuck, and do it by yourself and show, no? And then you'll appreciate the effort the person puts. Debating is an art. Being on television is a skill. These are different forms of public speaking. Talking on YouTube is one. Talking in front of public is one. Training is one. Conducting a seminar is another one. Conducting training sessions is another one. There are different. Conducting a workshop is another one. There are different styles of public speaking, and each one deserves dedication and a chapter of its own. So unless and until you're willing to put years and years of hard work, don't get into it. Because if you do, and you just jump in and get out, it'll do nothing but destroy your career. And the classic example I can give you for this, the real life example right now, is Lily Singh. Lily Singh, from being a cringe comedian on YouTube, moved into Saturday, what is that, late night talk show or whatever. It's a disaster, total disaster. I'm not questioning her dedication, hard work, her, she's a really hardworking woman. But stand-up comedy is not her thing. Unless, of course, she gives the next 10 to 15 years honing that skill. Anyway, this is what I wanted to share. Let me know your thoughts. And imagine, I spoke to you for 21 minutes. Try doing that. And then you'll appreciate how much of skill, effort, experience, and expertise it takes in different styles of speaking. Alright, you guys take care. It's me signing off.